The Appleton Area School Board delaying now a final vote on teacher pay raises for the upcoming academic year. It says contract talks with the teachers union. They are now at an impasse. New at 5 tonight. Taylor Zebo live in studio with more details on this. Taylor?
Chris, the district says the union declined its latest offer, a total compensation boost of about 2.72%. The plan would raise the starting teacher salary to $50,000, add $500 to each pay level, and give extra increases at the lowest and highest levels. The school board's resolution did not mention any counteroffers by the union. Several board members said they're frustrated by ongoing disagreements and acknowledge the board may need to look at the structure differently.
We've had 2 impasses in the last couple of years now. There's a lot of frustration around this. So maybe it is time to take a step back and recognize this process just is no longer servicing the best interests of our students and of our school.
Without a new deal, teachers start the year on last year's pay. The board tabled the resolution until its next meeting to hear more from the Teachers Association. Cammie.